Hello, Mr. Clasper. So glad you could make your appointment this afternoon. First of all, I'd like you just to relax, and if you could just maybe read out the letters on this chart for me, please. No, I can't make any of those letters out. It's these old glasses, I can't see any of them letters. I see. So you do obviously have a problem. These new lenses I prepared for you should do the trick. Please try them on if you will. Well, I'll give them a go, Doctor. Anything's worth a try, isn't it? Oh, that's much clearer. I can read all of those letters now. It's Baggy Hi-Fi time. That's great. That's excellent news, Mr. Clasper. I'm so glad to have been of help to you. That'll be 750 guineas, please. Greetings cats and kittens, and welcome once again to Baggy Hi-Fi, this YouTube channel devoted to record collecting and the vinyl community here in the UK. Well, we're another week into the English lockdown here, and I've been quite busy this week. I hope you're all keeping well and safe, etc. This latest video is a vinyl community contest entry for a change, and this is one that I quite like the theme of. This is was set by Elliott Crews, that's C-R-E-W-S, over in North Carolina, and his YouTube channel is called Elliott Crews. Elliott is a lovely guy, talks quite often really about roots music and bluegrass, that kind of thing. He's based in North Carolina, and I don't want to sound patronising, but he has a lovely accent, southern accent to listen to. So I do recommend this channel, even if you're not interested in bluegrass music or American roots music. I just think his presentation is very, very engaging. And one of the differences about this contest which Elliott has set is that instead of the usual prize in a vinyl community contest is usually an Amazon voucher or something like that, money to buy more records with, but this one's different because Elliott is offering to pay $75 should your name be picked out of the hat to a charity of your choice. So my charity of choice, if I possibly win this contest, is St Mary's Convent Care Home here just a couple of miles down the road in Ebchester. It's a great care and nursing home, which is a charity. It's not supported by the state in any way. So the theme is that Elliott has set is Keep It Simple, Stupid. Now that is an acronym that spells KISS, and I believe it's an American term which originated in the American Navy. Keep it simple, stupid. Probably good advice in many cases, but it did catch on and spread throughout the States, and this was applied to lots of different things like design, etc. When I watched Elliott's initial video where he sets this competition, what came to mind was the slogan, less is more. Again, the call to keep things simple. And less is more was coined by the modernist architect Mies van der Rohe. But then it spread like the keep it simple, stupid slogan, and spread to all sorts of areas again, like design and art and minimalism, etc. So yeah, we're talking about music here, which is simple, or is aimed to be simple, keeping things musically simple, either in instrumentation or in the song structure, or even in the way it's recorded, perhaps in a kind of DIY style or primitive recording techniques or primitive instruments. I think you get the idea. Anyway, I've got quite a few records to get through. I've got 6 records to get through and 1 CD. And the first thing I'm going to show, first piece of music I'm going to show, is a CD. I'm not sure whether this ever was released on vinyl. It's on Rounder Records, and it's early Shaker spirituals. So we're in the realm of traditional folk music here. Now the Shakers were a puritanical evangelical Christian sect which flourished in America in the 19th century mainly. And the reason why it sort of died out is that the members who did, I say, live communally and worshipped communally were also celibate. And so the sect sort of died out, but it made a real impact on American culture because the Shakers made all their own furniture, they built their own houses, and that style of Shaker design was very influential on furniture design and style, interior design, I guess. So this is a book of Shaker furniture and houses, which I have here. These lovely wooden houses, but and artifacts. The back to the music, Shaker music. There's a Shaker lady there sitting outside her porch. It's on this Rounder Records, and it's recorded in the 60s and 70s by some of the original Shakers. So these are very, very, very simple, unaccompanied, very short pieces of devotional music. There are 40 tracks on this CD. It's on, there's the CD. And some of the Shaker women on the back there. Not only was the Shaker style of furniture and building taken up by other American designers, but also composers were influenced. A bit like Vaughan Williams was influenced by English folk music and that kind of went into his classical compositions. Well, Aaron Copland, the 20th century American composer, took quite a lot of influence from Shaker folk tunes and incorporated them in his music, especially on this piece, Appalachian Spring. It includes the tune of the Shaker hymn, "'Tis the Gift to be Simple." On to now someone a lot more well known, a rock artist, Pete Townshend of The Who. Now I think this also fits the keep it simple or less is more category, because this is Pete Townshend's first solo album, Who Came First, and there he is demonstrating the motto, who came first, the chicken or the egg, as he's standing there in his Doc Martens and white boiler suit on a ground of white eggs. This was Pete Townshend's first solo album from 1972, recorded at home, as he says on the back here, all instruments, vocals, recording, engineering, mixing, synthesizers, in fact everything except making the tea, in one ginormous ego trip by Pete Townshend. Ronnie Lane does appear on one track on here, I think, though, but everything else is just recorded at home by Pete Townshend. And I love this album. This is a reissue on Track Records. It's on white vinyl, if I remember correctly. Yes, virginal white vinyl there. There are parallels between this solo album by Pete with, I would say, McCartney's first solo album, again recorded at home. I think after the excesses of the 60s, artists who gained fame in the 60s were kind of going in a different direction, a little more of a homespun direction, and also on a kind of a spiritual quest in some ways. Well, certainly for Pete Townshend, because you will have all heard the song by The Who, The Seeker, and he was kind of seeking some kind of spiritual solace and calm, and he found it in his guru. Well, found it for a time anyway with his guru Meher Baba, and there's Meher Baba, his guru, there on the gatefold. There are some tunes on here which were meant to be for the aborted Lifehouse project by The Who, concept album by The Who. Pure and Easy, that later came on Who's Next. Let's See Action, a much different version of Let's See Action. I mean, you all know Roger Daltrey's singing style is very kind of strident and very much the rock god style of singing. Well, Pete Townshend's singing style, as you probably also know, is much more frail, much more plaintive, much more vulnerable, and I do love his singing style. So this is a great record, I think. There's sweetness to the tunes. Pete Townsend sounds happy on it because, you know, he did have a lot of problems with alcohol abuse and heroin, I think, later on. But at this point, he did seem happy. And I believe that this album came out from the record company asking him to release these demos, which I think were put out originally in very small numbers, and they were heavily bootlegged. So Track Records asked Pete Townsend to put together a proper first solo album, and here it is. Who came first? Now, simple music. What springs to mind for me is garage music, 60s garage music, R&B, and there was an explosion in the States, it's said, due to the British invasion of, you know, the Stones, etc., where kind of in every small town lots of bands sprung up, and a lot of them are great. A lot of them maybe only made one single, but a band who had more success and you know, a great example of very primitive driving garage music is the Sonics. They're from the Pacific Northwest. This is a compilation from of their 60s material on the new, also on the Fan Club label, and each song is a real winner. I'll just read you something from the original sleeve notes here. The sonic sound is here to stay because it's in motion, but don't be misled. The beat's there, deep driving and gutsy. Well, deep driving and gutsy is what the Sonics are. Extremely primitive garage music of top-notch quality. Psycho, you might know that one. Strychnine, Boss Hoss, Have Love Will Travel. All of them have that. You have a great riff. The needle drop I'm going to play is The Witch from 1965, which was apparently banned in their state because they thought it would scare people. And it's a scary riff, all right. The Witch by the Sonics. Onwards with more simple music. We're going over to the folk realm now, or at least folk revival realm. This band were called the Holy Modal Rounders, and they consisted first of all as a duo of Peter Stamfel and Steve Webber. They formed in Greenwich Village, New York, in the around about 64, 63, 64, and these were sort of beatniky type intellectuals who were drawn to old-timey American folk music, and you know, wanted to play old tunes from folkways, anthologies, etc. So this is their first album, a reissue of their first album on the Big Beat label. This is the first album from 1964, 14 tracks of old-timey music, mostly old tunes, such as Hop High Ladies, The Cuckoo, Give the Fiddler a Dram, Blues in a Bottle. So very, very simple music. Pete Stamfel played banjo and fiddle, and Steve Webber played guitar, and they both sang. So yeah, quite a fun album. It is sort of infused with, as I mentioned, sort of a beatniky, wise guy attitude, and also some psychedelic influence as well. In fact, they use the word psychodelic on this album. You could say this is a very early example of freak folk, the Holy Modal Rounders. Moving forward to the 1990s now. I've mentioned Billy Childish a few times in my Baggy Hi-Fi videos, and this is an album from the early 90s by one of Billy Childish's incarnations. He's had many different band names and across his very prolific career. This is on Sub Pop Records, and it is Billy Childish and the Black Hands. Now, Billy Childish has made a whole career out of making primitive music and doing primitive paintings, and you know, this artwork on the cover is by himself. But this one I picked out because it is particularly primitive. It's recorded live onto 1/2-inch tape, and the instrumentation of the Black Hands, banjo, harp, T-chest bass, and that's you know, that kind of homemade double bass that was popular among skiffle musicians of the late 50s and early 60s. So definitely harking back to a primitive area in music, era in music. Just show you that label, custom label there with Billy's photo on it. Yeah, maybe not the best place to start with Billy Childish, but I did pick this one out because it is especially primitive. Now, going back to the 60s again, and this has a Beatle connection, so really someone like Mazzy or James Griffiths would be better to comment on this next piece of music perhaps. This music is by somebody who was often called the sixth Beatle because he was a Beatle, and it's Pete Best. He was sacked from the group, and stories vary about why he was sacked. Apparently he just maybe didn't look cool enough, didn't wear, you know, the leather jackets and the straight leg jeans from the early era of the Beatles in their Hamburg days. Apparently he wasn't like that fantastic a drummer either. Yeah, so he was sacked from the band, but he did continue making music, and from about 64 onwards, but eventually gave up after a few years with limited success. What confused some pop fans in the USA was that Pete Best did sort of cash in a bit on his you know, history as a Beatle, an early Beatle, and he put out an album of his new band's music under the title Best of the Beatles, meaning Pete Best of the Beatles. But that probably left a lot of Beatles fans disgruntled when they found out that that record wasn't the best of the Beatles, but was by Pete Best, ex of the Beatles. But this tune, you know, he may not have been a good drummer, he may not have been that cool, but Pete Best will live on in my memory because he recorded this great tune, which is on a compilation of English Freak Beat. It's English Freak Beat Volume 5, and there's the Pete Best combo, or the Pete Best 4 on the back, and this track is The Way I Feel. And again, it's an example, a bit like the Sonics, of a very, very simple but effective driving riff. And you'd hear it because I'm going to do a needle drop, but yeah. Rest in peace, Pete Best, once of the Beatles, and great tune, The Way I Feel, from 1965. This final example of musicians keeping it simple, keeping it naive, keeping it punk rock, are Beat Happening, wonderful group from Olympia, Washington, who emerged in the late 80s, led by Calvin Johnson. They were a trio. If you don't know Beat Happening, trio of Calvin Johnson, Brett and Heather. And yeah, instrumentation, very, very simple. Single snare drum, just one guitar, and Calvin handling the vocals. This is their album. Is this Dreamy? Yeah, this is Dreamy. custom label there, Sub Pop. Calvin Johnson founded the K record label to release a lot more artists who you know, committed to the kind of DIY punk aesthetic. But probably best of all were Beat Happening. Here's another couple of albums by them. If you ever see any Beat Happening albums, I think you should just snap them up because they are wonderful records. There's the band there as well. Calvin Johnson does continue recording music to this day, sometimes again very simple performances, just him and an acoustic guitar, or with other very primitive sounding bands, including the Halo Bendos, to name just one. But yeah, so that's ending with Beat Happening. I'm going to show you a little video extract of them. I mean, even the way this video is filmed is primitive, probably on a Super 8 film. But yeah, I do miss Beat Happening. They were an amazing group. So that's the end of this video, this latest Baggy Hi-Fi video. Thank you for your comments and subscriptions. We're now over 200 subscribers. Who'd have thought it? But yeah, I really enjoy replying to your comments, etc. And hope you all keeping well. I'm just going to end now with a little bit of Beat Happening. See you soon. Bye for now.
What am I to do without your soul?